Hello YouTube and welcome to a new series on the channel here today. Today we're going to be watching Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. From now on it will be known as G-Witch. I will never say that full title ever again. So yeah, G-Witch. G-Witch won the poll. The poll results are here. I'm going to be reacting to it. I'm going to be analyzing it after the fact and doing all the normal stuff I do on the channel with all my other videos. So yeah, expect a reaction, expect a good half an hour or so on each episode potentially, depending on what I see, of course. And yeah, we're probably going to go at about 2 episodes at a time. That should be my current pace, I guess. And we'll get into a little bit of watch order stuff here in a second as well. But first and foremost, I should do all the things that I like to do before reacting to a show and before starting a new series. I like to pull up ANN, which I will pull up for you guys as well, right there. Hello, ANN. I'm going to read a few of the staff, which are down here. See what they've worked on, see if I can see any trends or anything like that, just get a general gist of who's even going to be doing anything here. I'm going to look at the production studio behind it. In this case, it's Sunrise, so it's a little bit pointless, a little bit, we'll see. And I have a key visual up here for me to look at. I'm not going to read any synopses, I don't know any characters, I don't know what's going on besides that. So yeah, that's kind of what I limit myself to. Yeah, let's jump into stuff. We're going to start with the director here, Hiroshi Kobayashi. And yeah, I had a little bit of a look here before. Not a huge, I guess, CV, you would say. Looking through here, I see a couple of interesting ones. I see a little bit of work with Trigger on both Little Witch Academia, which may be somewhat of a contemporary considering the female cast and whatnot. Witches and so forth. Kisnavia, which is another Trigger thing that I have not seen. Kill la Kill, some work on Kill la Kill, of course. Notably directing Dragon Pilot, that show. It's got names next to it as well, but I digress. From Bones, I believe. That was... When did this come out? It came out ages ago, I feel like. Yeah, 2018. That was when I was first starting to actually get into this stuff. I have not seen it, but I've heard good things about Dragon Pilot. And again, I think the idea of Dragon Pilot is it's kind of like a mecha pastiche in a way, because the dragons are kind of like mechs. Like the girls are in they're in uniforms and stuff. It's like the military or like the Air Force or something. So yeah, it could be playing in similar areas. Also, we'll see here has a little bit of kind of history with the Gundam series as well through Iron-Blooded Orphans, but just some storyboarding work there. The only other thing that I can see here of note that is a direction thing is Spriggan, which was on Netflix. I believe my friend watched it and said it was okay. So there you go. There's my hard-hitting analysis on Spriggan. Other than that, a few interesting things. This one's always an interesting one to see on the CV, of course. Dororo, got some Death Parade and Carol and Tuesday, which may also... Are they also Bones? Are you Bones? Because I know it's Shinichiro Watanabe. Yeah, okay, cool. Carol and Tuesday's okay. I'm just trying to see trends. So if I can see a trend that's like Bones and Trigger into working on Gundam, that would make sense to me. And I guess I see a little bit of crossover between what they actually have directed and what this thing I think it's going to be. So again, just looking for trends. Next up here we have Ichiro Okochi, who is the scriptwriter for this thing. I'm going to zero in on a few things here. Azumanga Daioh not included, though I love it so very much. It's not really something you would do hard-hitting sci-fi writing on. Code Geass would be that. I haven't seen it. I've heard it's written amazing. It takes big story swings. It turns and twists in a bunch of weird ways. So it seems good. Seems good to me, at least. Yeah, sure. Similarly, working on the script for Devilman Crybaby over with Science Saru as well. A little bit of Guilty Crown. Your mileage may vary. Carbonari of the Iron Fortress, which is another thing I've heard good things about. Of course, a little bit of previous work with Gundam through the 8th MS Team Battle in 3 Dimensions, which is an OVA. Cool. What else we got here? Skate the Infinity. Love Skate the Infinity. Some work on Spy Family, which is cool. Princess Principal, which people always tell me to watch for sure. And Kaiju number 8, which aired recently. Yeah, eclectic for sure. No, I don't mind this as a point of reference for a person that's going to be writing the script. Definitely has a lot of history there. Like a lot of different things to pull from is my point. I like this. This is a good CV, I think. Because if there's one thing you know about like Gundam is money. They have money and people want to work on it. It's got historical significance, you know, all the way back to Tomino back in the day, and it's huge. It's huge. It's a hugely important series. Yeah. If we ever do any of the older stuff, I'll go more into why and that kind of stuff. I guess I should get this out of the way now, and I'll probably reference this again myriad times. This is the first time I'm going to be seeing anything Gundam. I have no idea if this is a good jumping in point or not. We're just going to see. We're going to try and figure things out. Now, I forget why I had Shinya Watada up. I guess this was like the biggest person on the staff that I could see that had ties into old Gundam stuff. So, like, that's pretty old Gundam stuff. And I don't know what Gundam Build is, but it definitely didn't come out like in the last year or whatever. So, you know, there's some stuff there for sure. And again, ties into older, you know, Sunrise stuff, Love Live and Inuyasha and so forth. We'll go into it a little bit more later as well, but a notable staff member working on the storyboards and the opening. Yes, correct. We have the music here by Takashi Omama. Not much to see here. I don't even know why I put this up, if I'm honest. A little bit of previous work with Gundam. Potentially that's where we're diving in there. Don't recognize anything else besides Phantasy Star Online, which is more for the video game. We have a Yumi Sato here, which is the art director for the show. Scrolling down here, a little bit of Code Geass, a lot of background art credits, is credited as a background artist up here. Gundam Slime Isekai, sure. If you wanted to, you could. The World God Only Knows, which is a really weird pick as well. I read that manga way back in the day. Jesus, that's a blast from the past for sure. Oran High School Host Club has fantastic backgrounds, I can tell you that. Eureka 7 art director? At least a little bit. Sure, that's a pull. And yeah, a little bit of stuff on Makia maybe. Yeah, just background art, okay. But backgrounds are good in it, for sure. Not that I've seen it, but I'd imagine they're good. It's a movie, and people like it. The backgrounds are probably good. And last one here today is Yutaro Kubo, who is the animation director, I believe. Or potentially only on this special opening animation. A&N, you're being weird. I don't know who the animation director is here. One of these people? Maybe, potentially. We do not know currently. Anyway, as I'm sure with a lot of these things, it's probably a group effort on a lot of fronts. So sure, that's kind of the stuff of the thing. Hard to pull anything other than the stuff from the director, which is vaguely triggery, I guess you would say, as well as a little bit of work with Bones. So sure. Oh yeah, and I guess Okochi with the script stuff and Code Geass, and it could take some twists and turns and so forth, as well as just being generally there. Here's the thing about Gundam as well. I don't know if this is adapted on anything within the canon already, if this was already a novel or something like that. Were people aware of the story before this came out, or was it an original thing? Potentially a question for somebody that knows a little bit more than I do. And now, hello, my anime list. We have Sunrise up here. And as I said before, it's very hard to pull anything from this. Let's just say all the huge franchises that Sunrise has, or under their umbrella or whatever. Just so much stuff. Fucking Gintama, Code Geass, Cowboy Bebop, Daily Life of High School Boys. Fantastic show, though. Inuyasha, Love Live, obviously. Did I say Gundam? Gundam. Yeah, just heaps of stuff. Heaps. Tiger and Bunny's huge. We shouldn't discount Tiger and Bunny either. City Hunter as well, very famous old show. Snow Halation itself, Pog. We love Snow Halation. Sure, we'll leave it there. Huge. They're massive. If Sunrise is behind something, then it's got money, because Love Live makes $1 gajillion every year. And yeah, like I said before, this is my first Gundam thing. This is my first real... Well, it's not my first mecha show. I do know mecha, at least a little bit, but not like mecha-ass mecha. This is some mecha-ass mecha. Or potentially this isn't, but the stuff that came before it in the franchise is. I don't know where the popular consensus is on the subject. I'm just going to leave it. Now, more importantly, where I come into Sunrise specifically is Love Live, and where I come into wanting to watch this in particular, not that I needed any other excuse really, it seems to have space lesbians in it, which is kind of like my thing, so... Sure, space lesbian show, let's watch it. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's like going to be an explicit thing or it's going to be a heavily implied thing. I don't know, but we've got two girls here and they're reaching out hands like this towards each other and they're falling through the sky. If that doesn't imply something at least leaning towards romantic, then I don't know what really does. Seeing a visual like this can't help but inflame my mind with thoughts of Utena. So... sure, maybe potentially this highfalutin school down here, potentially the setting for this thing, is going to inform that somewhat. We'll see. We've got 3 side characters. They're too small in the key visual to really make any real assumptions. I'm going to imagine you're a nerdy type, sporty type, bad hair type. I don't know. again, we'll say the one thing I am noticing, of course, is that you are wearing a different colored uniform to the rest. Are you special for some particular reason? And again, it's very hard to tell character design from here right away, but you're a white-haired character and you're a red-headed character. Generally, your red-headed characters are more fiery, energetic, passionate, all these other things, where your white-haired characters lean more kudere, a little bit quieter, contemplative, let other people speak for them. Your classic kind of fire and ice type trope where these two characters will be perfect opposites for each other and play off of each other well and all that kind of stuff. I must declare that I also see a big robot. The big robot has touches of red and touches of blue. I have no idea how the piloting situation happens with said mecha. Is there two people in the cockpit, a la something like Darling in the Franxx? Hopefully not that explicit. Or is it like a solo thing? And everyone's going to have their own specific one. I'm going to imagine, based on the colors, that we're going to have two characters inside the same mech at the same time. That would make sense to me. And then again, I'm completely new to this franchise, so what are we doing with said mechs? Why are we going to said school? What is the conflict? Who are we fighting? Is there a war? Is this like a military school? Are we training up pilots that want to fight these robots against the bad people? Who are the bad people? We're gonna have to see. The other thing is, I guess I'll fill in some of the context I know about the series. Some long-time kind of Gundam people don't particularly like this entry because they think it's a little bit too casual and a little bit too pandery. They feel like their franchise is losing a little bit of authenticity, which they liked about it. But again, we have to look at the flip side. I probably wouldn't be watching this if it wasn't for its casual-leaning things, which I have talked about. We're gonna see. If I get to a point later on when I've watched like all the Gundams and I just see this as some neutered down, version of the masterpiece that is Gundam itself, then potentially I'll agree with you. For right now, this is what's getting me in the door, and potentially that's a little bit more important as well. Again, I hate preempting to a backlash and kind of fighting for something I haven't even seen yet, but sometimes you have to. Sometimes you just gotta see him and hit him, I guess. That's what we'll say. And yeah, with that, we'll close down this portion. I'll give my patrons a shout out, and I'll give you a talk about watch order stuff. So yes, I do have a Patreon. If you wanted to, or if you are watching this video, watch the reactions and all that kind of stuff. If you would like to see more, there is more on the Patreon right now. You can click the link in the description, pay me $6 a month, and you will get more. You will get more of this show, if that's something that interests you, or anything else on the channel at the moment. I think there's something weird coming up on the midweek slot, but I've got Eminence and Shadow and Penguindrum happening at the moment as well. So if anybody wanted to watch any of that stuff with me, you're more than welcome to. Click on the link. I don't know. I'm bad at advertising. Either way, many people have done this already, up to and including Mickey Babbers, Trails++, Backslash, Banana Ramahama Damasama, Bobbin, Chobo Ribby, Dapper Dwarf, Domobot, Ed, Fancy Question Mark, Fleur Nightingale, Fruit, Fusel, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Greybeard, Gus N, Ika, Ice, Iria, Yako Yavanen, Jacob R, Joran, Kelvin, Clem, Nosta, Cotton Begemot, Lick H, Lou, Master Detective, Mistake L Chen, Molly Weinberger, Mr. Maniacs, Parnick, Pencil Sharp 333, Ragashingo, Ron Lad B&K, Saint Lily, Sal, Sam1373, Skeleton, Fueco, Warpv, Without a Net, Yuan Kai Shu, Yuki Ali, Zach, Akomancer, Binshi, Hans Peter, Marsh, Voodoo Chili, Ichu, Funny Fat Guy, Koichi Kaito, Matthew Bratcher, and Ron Tiki. Thank you to everybody for giving me money. I enjoy the money. I also have a Discord, which is free to join, which is in the description below. You should like and subscribe to the video. And yeah, I should talk about the version that I have. So I have gotten myself the demi-human version. It seems to be a Blu-ray rip of some kind with the FLAC audio. The files are huge, so this is my point. If you see something that is doing this thing that has smaller file sizes, that would be great. I don't have a bajillion gigabytes of space on this computer. I just don't. So if somebody had a better version there that is also satisfying everybody, that'd be great. So Demi-Human is the name there, just reiterating once again. The other thing here would be watch order. So I've seen some scuttlebutt about a prologue that I should watch first. I'm doing that here today. The episode title should be something akin to Prologue and Episode 1. That is what I'm going to be doing here today in that order. Apparently that's the correct watch order and so forth, blah, 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 blah. There is also something called Cradle Planet I have been made aware of, I guess. Cradle Planet is a novel, I believe. It is meant to be placed between the Prologue and Episode 1. So, sure. I'm not going to be reading Cradle Planet. My understanding as well is that parts of Cradle Planet and its story and what you need to get from it are in the lyrics of the opening. So yes, we're going to be reading the lyrics of that opening and trying to pull what we're supposed to be pulling from it. I'm sure most of it will just be pretty self-explanatory either way. Again, we will see. If I somehow spoil myself by doing this in the wrong order, sorry. This is what Reddit told me to do and we can blame them. Either way, let's jump in here with Episode Prologue. Episode Prologue, G-Witch, coming right up. Oh yes, and while I'm here, I neglected to tell you what the actual subs were. I'm pretty sure I'm doing this one, which is full English. It's going to be Crunchyroll plus some assisted stuff. We're going to start there. If Crunchyroll's bad for whatever reason, please let me know, and I'll just switch over to the other one, which I think is something else. Oh, hang on, not the audio. The subs, of course, which are there. Also, I should talk about the audio. I'm going to be doing it in Japanese, in the FLAC, so sorry if you wanted the dub. I'm not doing the dub. Either way, episode chunk is up there ready to go. 23 minutes and 39 seconds on this one. Sync up accordingly with your own copies. I've gone into it. Demi-Human, the subs I just said, should be fine if you just do it off Crunchyroll. But yes, there will be a picture-in-picture version in the description below. Click on the link down there. It'll take you right to it. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Is that a robot? There's robots in this? Sci-fi jargon? Like the music. Okay. Classic. Gritting of the teeth. Yeah, okay. Okay, I mean, you look like an adult version of one of the character designs. Lord Cardio? Ah, Space Baby. Okay, you can pretty clearly see how this is linking into the rest of the stuff. I was gonna wonder if it was going to be a little bit harder to tell, but not really. Pink. She's still sleeping. A little bit. We're just doing some tests. As you do. Elfrith. Sorry, chat, I had a phone call there. So I just jumped back in. I'm seeing a pretty obvious connection here between, yeah, child equals robot. and family and stuff. And even some timeline stuff, which would be nice for later, because if she's 4 then, you're probably adding at least a decade. I do hate it when I have to take phone calls. I was in, and now I'm not. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, yeah, on the skin, right? Interesting. This is very sci-fi so far, just in the way they're doing exposition as well. Oh, that's Dad. Hello, Dad. Stay-at-home dad? Maybe not. Seems like a mechanic or something. Birthday hat? Oh, hell yeah. Sponsor? Okay. Yeah. Look at this evil business motherfucker. Delling. Interesting. Okay, Mum has a robot arm. Fair enough. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. We'll see. Where we are in the episode. It's about time for bad things to start happening. Not Delling, dude. Wait, where'd the kid go? Eri. I should get names. Pretty sure Eri's going to be pretty important. Hmm. Secret hidden grandma. Mm-hmm. Okay. Me neither, really. I don't think the robot likes cake. That's good. I like strawberries. I feel like doom is impending. Okay. Interesting. How do we get the kid out of here then? Yeah. Don't know why. I didn't expect to see blood. Oh, where is everyone? These parents are so dead. It's crazy. Damn. Dude, the sound's crazy. Or the lack thereof. Okay, cool robot. Seems pretty good. We will definitely just keep winning forever. Nothing bad will ever happen. Huh. Yes, tell me more. Okay. Epic. Seems like it'd be thematically relevant for the rest of the series. Yeah, but if we could have unlocked it, potentially we could, be even better in that regard. What a really weird ethical argument. Anyway. Okay, so Purple Guy's bad news. Murder them all, Granny. Thanks for telling me. Yeah, this is what I'm more interested in. What's going on over this side? Where's Mum? Here we go. Oh, that's pretty bad. Yeah. Episode structure, guys. Yeah. Thought so. Yeah, but just watch the kid. We don't want to make the kid fucking unwell, sick and die. She is fucking going crazy though. Hell yeah. Murder them all. Thanks, Dad. We're actually doing pretty okay here. I thought Mum was gone too. No, Mum did okay. At least so far. Yeah. That's crazy. That's like him like literally dying. Fantastic. It's crazy that they heard that, but anyway. Alright, it was enough time though, right? Hip hip. Hooray! Gotcha. Well, I wonder where we go from here then. Because we're going to a school. I think that's the idea of the actual show. Because they're all in uniforms and whatnot. Yeah, I guess we'll see how this links into the other stuff. Because they would be fugitives now, right? Because they've got a fucking Gundam, and we hate Gundams because they kill people. Even though it's all voluntary and we're trying to pursue a greater scientific purpose with doing so, but anyway. And you guys only want them insofar as that they're weapons, right? You don't want weapons that can kill operatives? Fair enough, I guess. Again, obviously, we're going to reread all this stuff and get to what's actually going on. I'm sure a lot of this stuff will be kind of the building blocks on the very bottom to what the actual story is meant to say in the proper show, right? Where we'll expand upon concepts and things have become a little bit more obvious there within. Seems to be an ethical dilemma at the moment, and a weird one at that. I don't even know where I sit on it, honestly. Like, if we're really on the edge of a scientific breakthrough or whatever else, right, then should we not push harder? Again, provided people aren't doing it against their will. And again, like there's very much like a businessy type vibe to it as well with the kind of acquisitions and whatnot. So is it like it's bad for business that people just keep dying and whatever whenever they try to do this thing? I don't know. It felt like we were right on the precipice. And I mean, isn't Eri the evidence there? She was able to actually pilot the thing, and it seemed pretty good. especially for a 4-year-old. Yeah, so I guess a hard one to find a spot on early. I'm unsure what to think. I guess outside factors, I thought the production of the piece was quite good overall. Good space battle there at the end. I thought it was quite entertaining. A few fun little motifs there with the kind of birthday, reaching forward into the future, all this kind of stuff, as well as the family unit and family itself being associated with the Gundams. Like, it's like my big sister. It's like this child that everybody's been working on. And again, to see the plug pulled on it, and this entire program, of course, is kind of traumatic for everybody involved. Not to mention the whole people coming in and killing them part. Again, yeah, we'll see how this connects. I guess this will be the kind of challenge of the next episode, which I'll bring up now. I'll do both back to back. Rightio, episode 1 of Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury, also known as G-Witch, the actual proper first episode, not episode 0. Up here ready to go. 24 minutes and 9 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. Should be very similar to the Crunchyroll stuff, as you saw last episode, as well as the picture-in-picture version being in the description below. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Radio? 3, 2, 1. Go. Okay. We're going to school. What is aerial? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So clearly a different robot. Or a different color scheme, at least. I'm gonna imagine that this person is the other person in the show, the other main character. Yeah. White hair. So why are you out here is then the other question. So they don't want it. Interesting. Bro, Incredibles vibes. I don't even want to be saved. Escape. Interesting. Opening? Or maybe next episode. Yeah, probably next episode. Alright, we're at the academy. You clearly want to leave? Interesting. The School of Technology. Yeah. Seems very boarding schooly. Preppy. A lot of technology, a lot of robots. We're taking our time. I like this. Lots to look at. I'm gonna enjoy it when I can slow this down a little bit more, for sure. So my guess is that my prediction from before is wrong, that, like, it seemed like those people and Delling were opposed to whatever we were doing specifically and not the concept of fucking robots. Because otherwise, this wouldn't make any sense. The Witch and the Bride? Hello? Soletta Mercury. You're alright. Is it true that you're a witch from Mercury? Don't bully me. Come on now. Hmm. Are we going to shorten some of these names, potentially? I see. What the fuck? I can't read? You'd imagine some kind of simulation or something, right? It's a robot with like a cool lance. Hell yeah. Okay. Like, official duel? Interesting. Well, that's bad. Hand holding? A little bit. You and the company. There's a lot going on. I'm not quite sure I understand, but that's okay. For saving my life. He's not allowed to do that. I see. Whoa. And obviously this is Stelling, right? Interesting. Okay. Are you in some kind of garden right now? Rose garden? What a weird way to carry a tomato. I don't think I've ever bitten into a tomato like that. Special tomato? Okay. What, she made tomatoes as well? How about no? No, but I like flowers. You can't do this. I need a hero to save the day? Looks like she slapped his ass. She did! Hey, yo. Yeah, I'm well aware. Challenge him to a duel. Quick. But you haven't fought me. You guys weren't kidding when you said this was like Utena, right? Interesting. Alright, this is an interesting place for the first episode, huh? Didn't think it would be dueling this early. Love a transfer student too. Okay, damn. I doubt Delling's gonna die. I'm gonna be real. Great subbing, guys. Anyway. Dilanza. Just proper noun central. I gotta get all of them in my head. Hmm. I'm gonna imagine she's pretty good. This Pokemon gym leader head ass. That guy has 4 water Pokemon hiding somewhere, I'm sure of it. Yeah, I'm interesting. Yeah, okay. I didn't think that you would be the one in the machine. Sure. I mean, I've seen fiction before, so she's probably gonna win. The music's also telling me she's gonna win, too. Some lady on a Segway? Oh! Oh, yeah, okay, that's a fun callback. Yes. Well, here we go. Sure. Oh. Oh yeah, this has a lot of money. I have 1,000,000,000,000 guns? Lightsaber? What the fuck? Sick. The white feathers are a nice touch. Interesting. So that's where the color scheme comes from. There you go. I mean, they can do that. It's current year. Oh, wow. And yeah, I believe this is the opening, right? At least the song is. Because I know it's Yoasobi. I liked that. It was very different once we got into the school setting, obviously, because you're playing with a lot of different sets of tropes. But it's coming together okay. I think it's well animated. It's got a lot of money behind it. I just need some more time to attach the characters a little bit more, I think. And again, a lot of my time here today was trying to piece it all together. I think I've got a pretty good idea now. And again, it seems like a lot of it's just like corporate maneuvering in the background right now. So again, when Delling's doing what he's doing in the first part, it's less an ethical quandary. It's more a I'm making up an ethical quandary to try to pursue more kind of profit-leaning stuff, like do a capitalism. It's like super mega capitalist too, because it's like we basically kill the people that don't succeed. It was good though. A lot of places to jump off to, I guess. Cursed. Damn. And yeah, we'll jump into a little bit of analysis on both of those episodes. So yeah, that was the first couple of episodes there, the prologue plus episode 1 proper. Interesting one. Very, very interesting. There's a lot to say about it, and I think the best way to start is just to go through it once again. From that point, we can kind of start to try to figure some stuff out and how it all connects. I'm pretty sure I'm seeing it again. Pretty sure that Mio, I don't know what we're gonna end up calling her. That's fucking Delling's daughter. So again, a lot of this is going to be moving around and trying to get, control of the company based on being married to her. That's why her as a bride is so very important. That's going to be the basis of the show. I believe a lot of those character designs we saw are going to be associated with various groups and that kind of stuff, right? Whereby, hey, they're like the popular kids at school, the well-to-do kids, the higher class, if you wanted to be that specific about it. They're going to be the ones that are actively seeking this through their parents. Their parents are going to be like, hey, go do this. And then, yes, mum and dad, I'm going to go do this because this will help us, make moves in the company and make more money and that kind of stuff. Which, again, the morals here are sledgehammer obvious. You should marry for love and not for political maneuvering, right? That's why we're using a lot of this kind of medieval or fantasy type aesthetic in a lot of it as well. That's why old mate was a knight. That's why we're associating Soletta with a witch, right? Again, it's meant to show that this kind of line of thinking is archaic. It's not meant to be something that should persist. And then again, I would be remiss to not mention Revolutionary Girl Utena in this. It seems such a huge influence. It's almost insane. And again, we'll talk about a few more of those specifics when we get to the next episode. But again, elite academy, somebody comes in almost like a transfer student type situation, or somebody that's so very different to the norm, challenges the norm, especially the higher ups in the hierarchy of the school, gets themselves way more involved in something that they didn't know about already, may have a past linking them to these various characters more than they knew at the time. Pretty interesting. I think that's pretty interesting, right? Like, and again, a few more specifics there we'll get into in the moment. But yeah, it's very cool. I like Utena, so I like things that ape off of Utena. It's good. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get anywhere unless I rush back through this a little bit. So let's go to the first episode, the prologue, and we'll see what we can see. That does a lot of the backstory stuff here. My other big question is, how much does this like link into other Gundam stuff? Is it like that? Is it an alternate universe type thing? Is it happening all over space and this is just in one portion of space that this specific story is happening? Does this have wider ramifications for other entries in the series? I'm unsure how it works in that regard, I guess. So again, any extra information there would be appreciated. I will skip over a lot of this opening scene, but I think it's a pretty good tone setter. The kind of music setting up a little bit of intrigue and a little bit of suspense there. We're not quite sure where we're at and what we're trying to do. As it turns out, this is integrally important to the rest of the plot. This is Elnora, who is Ares' mother in this thing. So here's my other thing, right? Clearly we're hiding names because the show wouldn't make sense unless this was Soletta, right? Well, not this person's is Elnora, but Soletta is Ares, right? That's what we're getting at. Soletta Mercury. Of course, we're going to get what happened in between here and here at some point, figuring that kind of stuff out. From what I was told before, again, the lyrics of the opening are pretty important in that regard. I'm pretty sure that that's the song we get at the very end, so we'll get our answers there. It would make sense that you would need to change your names, considering that you're so very much attached to this portion, which we were supposed to kill everybody. Everyone's supposed to be dead. According to Delling, this is done, but he doesn't know that, and again, Mum's trying to probably push for a little bit of retribution there. Again, probably makes the relationship between Soletta and Miorine a little bit tenuous. Yeah, again, we'll say. But yeah, we're just kind of setting up that we can't get past layer 33, something that, again, Eri does with ease here. Important to note here that we keep trying to go up to 33, can't get past 33. She wants to continue pushing, that being Elnora, right? She is willing to put her life on the line here and now, push herself to the point whereby she could potentially die in trying to get this thing activated. And it's frustrating, right? We're right at that precipice of crossing it and making a huge breakthrough and all that kind of stuff, right? We must also consider that the lady, I'll get a name for her, hang on. Kado Sensei, the doctor, hey, she cares about you. We see in a picture later on that, she cared about Elnora from a young age and all that kind of stuff, and they've known each other forever. She, on some level, probably doesn't want you to push so hard to the point where you're going to kill yourself in kind of testing. So again, that's some of the context that you get when you come back through for the rewatch. It's not You are not purely profit motivated. Because again, this company that they're in right now is so very interesting. Veritas and One Arms. It's the combination of these two companies, one being broadly prosthetic leaning, the other one being a little bit more military, whereby where does everybody in this building land on that kind of spectrum? From your demeanor through the rest of the episode, you would imagine you lean a lot more on the prosthetic side and trying to help humanity. So again, pushing humans to their limits and almost killing them is counterintuitive. So from this exact moment when Eri comes through looking like a cute little astronaut, bunny on the back, all that kind of shit, I was sure that Mum was going to die. I can't believe Mum didn't die. That's insane. That's crazy talk. So yeah, shoutouts to the show for not having Mum die. I think that's a pretty fun little thing. Music is fantastic. I hope this kind of soundtrack becomes a leitmotif of the kind of mother-daughter relationship between these two as the show persists. Again, it's unclear at the moment how much Elnora is going to be in it, considering it's based around the school and she's trying to hide. So yeah. So again, I'm not good at recognizing robots, but I'm imagining this here is Ariel, right? So this is the robot that we have later on. And the next episode's called The Cursed Robot, and we're going to dive into what makes her specific Gundam way better than everybody else's, right? I'll need to check what we're calling the other robots, because this could be like... Because it seems to be a revelatory scene in the second episode, whereby we push two words together and we make them Gundam. Gund plus arms... Gundam makes sense. Is Gundam not a piece of nomenclature in the world already? Like, people don't know that term? Is this like the first one, so to say? If so, again, I'm just going to be insufferable with the Utena kind of connections, right? This is your Power of Dios equivalent, is that I have a special robot, thereby I could be good at fighting all the people that want to fight me. From there, it probably becomes a conflict kind of with, is it the robot making me successful, or am I a good fighter that's successful? Is it my skill and grit and determination, or is it merely my weapon that I use? That kind of dichotomy between a weapon that you would use and a sibling, right? A human and a weapon, something that's used to kill, but somebody that I can also love for. All that kind of stuff. I think that's all tying into here now with this kind of family as Gundam theme. Obviously, it's got increased relevance with the Delling stuff too, so Delling wanted to shut this stuff down, but now this very weapon is the thing that's continuing to be used to save his life almost. Like, again, Delling was going to die if Soletta didn't win the fight in the second episode, right? So that's a little bit of dramatic irony for sure. We're calling this specific robot Elfrith. It's hard to say how they say it in the sub here. But again, still an infant. There's another infant on screen. You're my sister. All this kind of stuff. Again, linking these two. This robot is so very important. Hence why Soletta runs out at the end of episode 1 as well, right? Hey, don't touch my robot. Nobody ever gets to pilot this robot but me. Yeah, specifically saying there that Eri would be the big sister, because this one isn't quite... Like, it's like laying on the table, not able to, like, roll over yet. It's like a very, very much an infant, not even like a 4-year-old. Okay, so now we get into exposition overload in a very sci-fi anime kind of way, where they just fucking throw it all at you and you just try to figure it out from there. So, okay, no, Gundams are a thing. Ox Earth were the company that made it. So again, originally we had Gund forms that were prosthetics, right? Meant to assist with physical dysfunctions caused by the space environment. However, when the Vanadis Institute, the lead researcher on the project, was acquired by Ox Earth, they then went from making prosthetics into making weapon prosthetics, right? And along with that, the physical damage to its pilots due to data storms then emerged as a problem. We see this pictured as the effect on their skin, as we can see there. Almost like this like mechanical disease coming through. Again, you don't want to be reductive, but something akin to like a cyberpsychosis potentially. Just this disease that occurs from the increase in technology and its effect on the brain. What's weird here as well is the kind of difference between Earthians and Spacians, which I think we're referencing a little bit through the rest of the 2 episodes as well. One to continue to watch, maybe something, again, an ethical issue that would be a little bit more pronounced if you're already a Gundam fan. Is this a thing that has, you know, been a thing through the rest of the series, I guess? So again, from here, you know, what we're implying from you, who is Dad, hello Dad, that news report was a biased view of what we're trying to do. It's painting us to be as bad as possible and, almost prompt the governing bodies to check in on us and have a look and all that kind of stuff, right? Setting the stage for what happens through the rest of the episode. Again, like I was saying, it seems like a lot of this stuff is profit motivated, capitalistically motivated, right? Whereby instead of, hey, this is an ethical issue, we're pushing you on this ethical issue, we're hiding behind the guise of an ethical issue, and in reality, we just want you out of the market so we can do whatever else we want. I think Delling is a testament to this, right? Where he's like this huge big shot now in the future, right? And very, very important. He's got a lot of power, again, based on the moves he's doing in the here and now. I don't think any of this real birthday stuff that we're setting up here is all that important, outside of its thematic importance to, again, the birth of a new child and a new sister as well. And again, that being the day that she's activated, it's literally the robot's birthday as well. When we're singing happy birthday, we're singing happy birthday to Ariel, who I believe is what we're calling it now. Elthrith. It's hard to say. Yeah, so that's what the birthday stuff is for. Again, it's hard for me to care about all this stuff when you're just going to die in 10 minutes of screen time. 20 minutes, 15 minutes. You would imagine that Ox Earth would be an Earthian company. Potentially Spacians don't like that very much. Potentially that's where we're going with that kind of direction. This is what happens when Earthians get presumptuous. We have a hidden council meeting at the moment where we're going to off Ox Earth, right? This is like their secret shady deal behind closed doors. Again, it's a power grab too. We should have a look at Delling's lines here as well. Delling is pushing for action now. Who's to say what might happen when they complete this thing? Once those guys at the Venidus Institute complete their Gundam, it will be too late. As the Mobile Suit Development Council, we must make a decision so that humanity can remain in peace. We must wield the hammer of witches. So, what? I don't understand. Again, this just seems like false pretenses because you want to take out a competitor that you don't particularly like very much for potentially racist reasons, I think. But I think we would imply that Delling's from Earth, no? With the future stuff, because Miorine is so much, like, Earth-coded. Like, she's eating tomatoes and shit. But maybe that comes from the mother's side a little bit more. Mum's Gund technology here stops working for a moment. Potentially you could read into this a little bit further that she'll have problems as time pushes forward. Like if it's not working now very well, then potentially 10 or so years in the future, it won't work even more. And again, this is the technology allowing you to exist in space as well, right? We showed like some like breathing apparatus thing before. I think that's how it works. And again, probably this stuff with pushing past layer 33 and all that kind of stuff isn't helping very much as well. What we're implying here as well is that, hey, you used to maybe be in an accident or something and Dr. Kato saved my life. So shout outs, I guess. We can also see here that she looks so very much like her daughter, as we see in the next episode. The hairband, very important there as well, too. Yeah, there's a better visual, just so very much. So then birthday party is interrupted. Delling's making his move. He's behind this press conference that's about to happen. I'm relating this a lot to what happens in the next episode as well when we pan over to like the corporate side again, where it's like, okay, yeah, we're cutting the funding from this company, right? Oh yeah, we'll go bankrupt. I think you got to go more than bankrupt if you're cut out of the funding of this kind of thing, right? And shut down per se. I think, again, commentary on capitalism aside, you die if you get cut off from this thing. So again, the presidents and the CEOs have so very much power. There's a foreboding tone as all this is going on. I believe the ship that is full of the gunman type guys is already kind of starting to roll up, right? They've already kind of made their move. In the dialogue here between these two space lesbians as well, there's some stuff about the Spacians and excessive tariffs and all that kind of stuff. It seemed like, again, Spacians don't like Earthians. There's some amount of racism there of some kind, some kind of othering. I don't know how else you want to say it. It's not really race per se. There's a bias, which is again probably part of this kind of stuff as well. The Spacians feeling like they're better or whatever, so get rid of the Earthians, Kind of weird how Eri gets away from the apartment so quickly and finds the Gundam and wants to enter it and all that kind of stuff. It happens all very quickly is my point. It's like Elnora like ducks down to get a fork and then my child's gone. Again, I don't have kids. Maybe they do that kind of shit. Through Eri's kind of like child brain, she thinks that mum and dad being pulled away from me and my birthday and everything else that's important is being caused by this robot. So, hey, robot, do the thing so my parents can love me more instead of being focused on you. Again, it's all just very tragic. Turns out that Granny's inside of the robot and comes out and basically apologizes to Eri. Again, you're the physical person pushing all of this stuff. The robot's just the metaphor. I'm sorry that I have to keep pushing technology forward and getting in the way of this kind of stuff, thereby apologizing to Eri and bringing her on board to see if she could do anything with it. So this is where I get a little bit confused. So apparently, in order for the future of humanity, for us to live in space, this is a crucial step. This is why this one's special. For the future of everybody, for this huge technological breakthrough that we need to do, we need to activate this thing. And you specifically say as well, hopefully, again, this is just the proof of concept of the technology. It shouldn't be a weapon in the future. This should just be a scientific breakthrough that helps everybody live better lives and longer and out into the universe and all that kind of stuff. Exist in space. And then again, there's a political element to it as well, probably why you've combined with an arms company. What are arms companies good at doing? Getting grants and making money. So if you need money to propel this kind of stuff, hopefully it won't have to be weapons forever. This is just the excuse by which we can try to figure out our technology. I think this is where we lean towards the kind of witchcraft motif, right? This is a new technology that seems so far beyond everything else that's existed already, right? We're already referencing it with the title of the next episode, The Cursed Robot. It doesn't work like any of the other ones. It's crazy. And of course, if you think historically, when you see things that you don't understand, when you see technological advancements that seem alien and foreign and weird, especially when it aligns with your own personal interests, you call them a witch and you call a witch hunt. Maybe that's what we're talking about with the hammer of witches, right? It's time to kill these witches. They don't... Both, I'm scared of the technology that they possess and what they might do. Also, I want to own that technology myself. Also, I'm acting on my inherent biases against these kind of people as well. Again, you don't need to get into it. We kind of got into witches versus princes versus princesses in Utana a lot as well. Again, think about your classic fairy tale type stuff. Bride and husband, knight and princess coming together and, you know, holy union and all that kind of stuff. Very traditional. What if we threw a witch into the mix? What if a witch was trying to steal the bride instead? Again, not exactly revolutionary considering that Utana did that 20 years ago. Anyway, Utana's good. We don't need to keep talking about it. The music's doing a lot of the heavy lifting here as well. This really sweeping, gorgeous, kind of really sentimental track, giving a lot of weight to this interaction, reinforcing the tenets given off by the Doctor here and the connection between Eri and the robot. In a very subtle way, we have the deployment of Ulysses. If you didn't know about Ulysses, it's the Latin word for wrathful. It's the Latin word for wrathful. If something's called Ulysses, it's not a good thing. It's got a military leaning focus. It probably means you're going to die pretty fucking soon. So yeah, peak subtle. Again, I'm seeing something like Knights Templar, kill all the witches, all that kind of stuff, right? A witch hunt, all that kind of stuff. That's what we're invoking here, I think. So here's my question, right? We choose here, the council or whatever, right? We're going to freeze development of all Gundam-type mobile units. Furthermore, we will forcibly seize Ox Earth, the company that developed them. So, okay. Gundams no more. We're not allowed to do Gundams, but mobile suits is okay. So this is where we get into like glossary stuff, which I just need to get a hand on, right? I see a robot and I say, that's a Gundam. It's not always going to be a Gundam. It's technically a mobile suit. Gundam is a specific type, right? Combination of Gund and arm, right? Where it's like a connection, like a prosthetic weapon suit. Does that make any sense? Like, it's got a closer connection to the actual person where it'll be stronger, right? In theory. But again, the danger is too great. Also, we oppose the technology because we call it witchcraft, all that kind of hara stuff. Again, the Spacian-Earthian conflict, all this stuff is kind of driving into this decision that they make. And again, the ramifications from it. The Doctor reads between the lines here. If they're cutting us off, if they're cutting off funding and all that kind of stuff, it can only mean one thing. They're going to cut us off from wife as well. And again, we get caught off guard and shot in the head. Very cool. So then here we have Delling Rembrandt, the supervising representative of Cathedra, who is going to be the auditing body who's going to stop Gundams from being a thing. And yeah, from here on in, the tension's ramped up. It's life or death. Of course, we have the first half of the episode to thank to give us that emotional connection to the family in general. Now we're scared. Oh my god, what are we going to do? We're literally going to die. From a nearby Dominicus spaceship, we see a big mobile suit guy come off as well, and, you know, he's going to make sure that nobody leaves this place alive and all that kind of stuff. So that'll become important later. That's who we fight during the climax of this episode. This is when the space lesbians die, which is cool. This is the first taste that the pursuers have of the Gundam technology as well, which is way faster and stronger and all that kind of stuff, but again, takes a toll on the person, right? We have this kind of growing texture on the father's face. He's going to die soon. He's putting it all on the line. It's making the subtext text. He is slowly killing himself in saving his family. As we can see there, which would probably be a better visual for what I'm talking about. We have that other character, Wendy, also helping here as well, the one whose Nyla just died and got shot in the head. So, again, space lesbians to the rescue. No, excuse me, I mixed up my scenes. I was talking about it before. This is when we're entering Purple Guy. So, Kenji, I believe this guy's name is. Let me check. Kenanji. Deploy Begir Bo. Sure. Purple robot guy, and they're evil. But doesn't this seem like very similar technology that doesn't hurt him? Something like that? So again, then we get into the confusing Delling stuff, where he's kind of presenting an ethical quandary to everybody, right? When you pick up a weapon, and my years of experience in the military tells me, you are taking upon the sin of needing to kill another. It then becomes morally and ethically incorrect to ascribe that to a robot that kills you in the process of killing other people, no matter how strong the weapon may be. You are giving that kind of ethical quandary over to a machine, and that's not okay. Again, it's a really flimsy thing to stand on when talking about this kind of... It seems like it's irrelevant, no? You are just making this move for other reasons, other... profit-leaning reasons, right? Other Spatian versus Earthian-leaning reasons. And again, very interesting with Delling in particular, again, considering his specific connections to Earth. It's an interesting one. Cool, then Kananji guy shows up. He stabs Space Lesbian in the head with sword. He also has a technology where he can stop the link, right? So he basically throws like a concussion grenade or a flashbang or something like that. It just stops them in their tracks. So again, that could be technology that's used later to great effect against Gundams. We have Dr. Kato's final scene here as well, as we pan around and see all these images, right? You seem broadly representing Earth as a concept, right? Humanity was born in the cradle of Earth. You were, forsaking your creators by doing what you're doing now and all that kind of stuff. We see around us all these images of the extent of humanity and what they've accomplished and all those kind of things. If you cut all this stuff down right now at the root, you won't see the fruit bear later, right? Like, point being, humanity has created amazing things, and Earth has created amazing things. What you're doing right now is suppressing our technological expansion even more, so we won't create great things like we have in the past again. Just as an infant must put on clothes to go outside, humanity must don the Gund to truly go out into space. That's just an excuse for technology that requires sacrificial victims. You don't understand what you're taking away is the future the Gund will save. So again, we're posing a lot of these ideas as correct. Where again, in a lot of sci-fi, it would be the exact opposite. You would want to embrace humanity and reject modernity and all this kind of extra stuff and cyborg implants and all this kind of stuff, right? It's pushing us away from that, saying that that's a bad thing, especially when attaching that to capitalism. So it's just interesting that this is being framed as the good guys, and the Spatians that want to stop technological growth and expansion out into space are the ones that are a little bit more, I guess, gun-shy there, and want to shut this stuff down and snuff it out and all that kind of stuff. From here, Elnora finds Eri on the spaceship. They embrace quickly. From here, it's like... We pretty much know what happens, right? It's like you connect to the spaceship, That's obviously very important. This is also the birthday of the machine itself, because it's finally come online. And yeah, here's the moment we find that the machine's actually finally online. This one's the most powerful one. This one's the special one. This one's going to represent that limit whereby humans can push out into space. It's a huge technological leap. And again, who's got the vitals in there that's actually getting past layer 33 to layer 34? It is Eri Samaya, which is an interesting last name too. I wonder where that's from. Samaya almost sounds like Southeast Asian, like lower down, like closer to us in Australia. Interesting. And yeah, from here I get the opportunity to shout out the action and the animation. I think it's quite good. I think the moments of character animation have been good thus far as well. I'll shout out a few in the next episode. But again, screams money. The CG's really damn good. The battles are coherent. I can understand what's going on. It's very clear to me based on the production itself that this machine is so much more powerful than all the others. Of course, Mum's horrified, right? On one level, yeah, all my co-workers and friends are dying, and we're potentially next. But on another level, my daughter's been intrinsically linked to this machine forever now and what it represents. She's not going to have a normal life now. She's going to have to be hooked into whatever we're talking about with expanding technological stuff into space, right? Whatever our goal was as a company and all that kind of mission statement stuff has now attached it to her, right? This is what this worried look is about. She is now almost cursed with this robot as well and needing to carry out the mission and all that kind of stuff. Again, we could see it on the face as well, like all this kind of stuff encroaching in. It's almost like she's cursed, has this sickness now that I can't quite get rid of. It's not about what it means in the now, it's what it means about your future forever and what you'll have to do. Another fun one as well is that I believe Eri says that the explosions out in space are much like candles, again, invoking the whole birthday motif that we're going for. The birth of this new Gundam. Kenanji guy comes back with his purple bee machine. He tries to do the grenade flashbang thing again, but isn't able to activate them as Dad rushes in the nick of time and then sacrifices himself to drag him away. And yeah, I mean, I predicted that these characters would die basically from the first second they were on screen, that being the parents. I'm just surprised that Dad died and Mum didn't. Again, Dad's doing the whole sacrificing himself thing, pushing the machine beyond its limits, whereby his life just like ends. This is his death we're seeing right now, moving towards the light. Here we've got that kind of technological motif going on too. So here's another fun connection as well. On the same day that the robot, Ariel, or Lithruth, or whatever the fuck we're calling it, is born, is the same day that Dad dies as well. So if we wanted to think about kind of a reincarnation theme as well, a lot of Dad is being put into this machine as well. So the connection between father and daughter is also one you could elaborate upon with this connection between Soletta and the robot later on. Now the bridge team back here are now aware, based on Eri's singing of happy birthday and all that kind of stuff, that there is still a Gundam out there that is communicating on the radio network and all that kind of stuff, right? They can hear it. So they are knowledgeable that somebody is out there, not that they can do anything about it. And yeah, of course, Eri, not knowing better, just singing happy birthday as this whole thing is like exploding, which is pretty funny, I think. Yeah, she's just loving it. And yeah, ending this episode on Delling saying that he's going to fucking stop all the Gundams and murder all the Gundams and all that kind of stuff. Now again, I think I just need a lore lesson. What's the deal with Spatians versus Earthians? What's the go there? Why would they want to vehemently separate themselves from this technology so very much? Is that something I'm meant to know right now based on prior experience, or is it something that gets elaborated upon in the future in a way that would be coherent? Just one to watch, I guess. Just one to keep in mind. And yeah, obviously focusing on Eri's mother, Elnora, and then of course we have Miorine's father, Delling. Yeah, it's like this classic, almost Romeo and Juliet-esque like union now we have between the two, which is on these two sides of this conflict from some time ago. I do like this general idea with the show, giving like fairy tale, monarchical, like Shakespearean almost significance to space battles, right? That's what we're kind of doing. It's high sci-fi, where it feels like everything we're doing is so very important and the scale is massive, and yeah, it feels really, really cool. From here, we jump, I'm going to say, a good 10 years into the future, 10 to 13 years or so. She was 4. I'm going to imagine she's somewhere in the 15, 16 range now. And again, as I've said, I'm pretty sure this is Eri. Eri is now going to be called Soletta Mercury, at least for the time being. It seems like we're assuming somewhat of a alternate identity type thing, hidden past type deal. Because again, being Earthian, being seen as Earthian, probably not a good idea in a society that seems to deny Earthians, I guess. She is checking the uniform and school list for the new school that she's going to be attending, which is a school of technology in space. For some reason, unbeknownst to us right now, Elnora wants Eri in this school. Again, already personifying the robot. I enrolled you as well, talking to the robot, talking to Ariel. To that end, I think the school design's just really cool. Just this kind of like asteroid space school just off in the middle of nowhere. I just think that's neat. I like sci-fi, it's cool. So one thing as well right now, it's unclear to me if Elnora is alive. You keep saying, Mom, I made it, all this kind of stuff, right? And yeah, and I don't think, you never say that she's alive. You're always kind of quiet about it. So again, Mum could still be dead, is my point. From here, we get Soletta getting the wrong idea in general. We see an astronaut out in space, not attached to anything. It seems like they're going to die and they need saving. In reality, it's Miorine thinking that she would rather die and risk escaping like this than stay in this school where I'm going to be married off to some loser. And yeah, immediately rushing into action, trying to rescue said person. We get a fun, flustered character in said situation. I will say, Soletta right now is leaning a little bit too flustered. Again, compared to somebody like an Utena, who is just so very self-confident, and that's kind of her thing, I don't know about the blushy, stuttery type for this kind of character. Would maybe have been better if she was the cool one, and that we had Miorine being a little bit more of the stuttery one. I don't know. Weird. It's a weird one. We're going to see how the character evolves through time, I guess. Again, just good episode structure stuff thus far. We had the happy birthday thing last episode, along with the whole Leia 33 conceit. We also have here Soletta saying this little thing towards herself. If you move forward, you gain 2. Pride and whatever it is. We'll get into it later on. But, like, that stuff coming back by the very end of the episode, I think is just good structure stuff. It means that this was written by somebody that, yeah, it feels well planned so far. From Miorine's perspective, she sees something on the horizon, right? This kind of shooting star almost type thing come in and save the day. Again, I think we're going to be framing this stuff a little bit later in the show as like a wish come true, a miracle occurring for me where this person comes in and saves me from my situation, even if it didn't seem like it at the time. I think there's a beauty and a poetry to this very early. Of course, again, nice episode symmetry, holding Miorine in our hands right here, right now, holding her in our hands later on, right? Isn't that just great? I should also mention the headbutt too, which is very important, which is something that comes back at the very end too, just the opposite way. Again, Miorine is struggling with her struggle right now, right? Headbutting you, don't care about who's in my way. This is something I'm truly passionate about, escaping this place and being my own person. You headbutt her later on. No, this is something I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about Ariel and piloting this thing, and it has to be me that does it, and all this kind of stuff, right? This is why I like doing the rewatches. You see stuff like this that, again, talks to a meticulous level of planning. From here, we get some really lovely... It's not quite an opening, but it's a setting of the scene, and we really take our time setting up the scene of the school, which I think is where a lot of this show is going to take place. Makes sense to take your time. We're playing with a completely different set of tropes now. Instead of our sci-fi tropes, though they're still there, we're playing a lot more with school show tropes, right? We have a transfer student, we have a setup hierarchy that we're going to challenge, we have duels and so forth. Yeah, this is where we lean a lot more on the Utena type stuff, I think. We'll talk a little bit more about uniforms when it becomes more pronounced later on when your uniform is permanently changed. But yeah, very, very much Utena vibes too. The one outcast, the one difference in the system, man. The one that's fighting against the current. Soletta's also giving off country bumpkin. She's probably not used to seeing much technology. She's very wide-eyed. She's looking around a lot. She's bowing to robots. All the stuff that, you know, people that are used to this kind of environment wouldn't normally be doing. Music's awesome through this part as well. There's real regality to everything going on. It feels like, you know, the esteemed knights of the round table, you know, getting into robots and going and fighting people and stuff. Again, it's going to be challenged by a character, I think, right? This status quo that we're setting up with our kind of regality. And challenged by who, I wonder? I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Soletta's very jumpy here. Again, we talked about it. I'm unsure about it thus far, but we meet the character of Nika Nanaura, who seems to be she's going to be our person on the bridge or something like that. She's going to be important to the show. She has a character design. She seems like she's broadly on our side. I like her character design. I like kind of the under part of the hair, and along with the blue eyes. Again, nice contrast to the other characters thus far. We have some girls from the class run over. Again, they're curious about the new transfer student and all that kind of stuff. They ask some important questions for exposition, right? Mum told me to attend the school. I'm posing as somebody from Mercury at the moment. I've never been to school before. This is the first time. Mother also gave me this old-fashioned hairband that I'm wearing. And again, Soletta's kind of stupid, so she doesn't even realize that she's being bullied right now. So that's cool. Specifically, Miorine Rembram is here. So that's something I picked up a little bit later on in the episode, that Miorine is intrinsically linked to Delling. So that's going to be one to watch for sure. Again, he's the king, per se, right now. He owns the group. If we want to make a power play, we need to make attempts on the king's life. That makes you a princess, that makes you a bride, all that kind of stuff, right? Soletta's nervous on her first day of school, comes up to Miorin, tries to apologize and so forth. But Miorin, we learned here, is also somewhat of an outcast at school, despite her status. Oh, it's you! You're the girl that got in my way. We have these bully girls over here as well. You want to run away, right? To Earth. Why not let her take responsibility and help you escape? Again, they're bullying this character here of wanting to go back to Earth and embrace some Earthian roots, potentially. Again, seems like some pretty classic bullying / racism type stuff. School stuff, you know? Of course, that interests Soletta somewhat, considering her ties to Earth and Earthian stuff in the past as well, before the scene gets rudely interrupted by old mate coming down in his big old machine and ruining everything. So this is something we're going to see in the future. There's a big old text in the sky thing whenever there's a duel, essentially, right? So here we have 2 students in the piloting department. Potentially we have a ranking here as well. You're rank 29, you're rank 1. We have Guel Jeturk piloting the Delanza, and we have the Capel Cool by Parker Eastcott. Sure. So you're making a power play, you want to duel. You have 2 wins, 1 loss, 1 tie, and you want to fight against the champ who's never lost and is on a 26 win streak. That's pretty good. Like, I wouldn't do that. So Guel is here. He's clearly the guy in like the pink robot. We're introduced very quickly to a couple of other characters here. There is a dueling commission which must approve duels. It is approved by old mate Shadiq. I'm not sure that he's the only one that could approve, or some other people could potentially as well. Specifically, Guel looks in his little sights and sees Miorine and wants to fight even harder and all that kind of stuff, right? Look at this, zooms in, make sure that she's watching, right? Specifically here, taking the fight over to, you know, Miorine specifically to show off and all sorts, right? Instead of focusing on him, however, Miorine wants to save Soletta's life, holds her hand, runs away with her. Ooh, it's all very scandalous. See, Miorine, this is how a real man fights, all that kind of energy to it. Before long, you and this company will be mine. Again, wanting to... The idea is that you marry her, get betrothed to her, then you murder the dad, and then because of, you know, politics and gender politics and all that kind of stuff, the men in the relationship then take control. It's essentially a way of hostile takeover, right? And again, very knights and princesses coded too. We learn here of Guel's little brother as well, who seems to be one of these guys that just kind of sits on the, you know, seems associated with that whole crew. Seems important too. Maybe a little bit more, what's the word? Nice, I guess. He has a little bit more to him to where he can be redeemable, I guess. We will say. This Guel guy seems pretty fucked. So again, that's about Soletta learning context. You're a runaway bride, you're betrothed to this guy, all that kind of stuff. She's important, she's the head of or daughter of the head of a big company. We then see Miorine run away and go to her own little garden, right? Does it remind you of a certain sunlit garden, potentially, where a certain bride may hang out very often and play with the roses? Potentially just a little bit. Again, Utena, right? So then, of course, once you learn that these two are betrothed, you have to learn why. It turns out that duels are crucially important to all this kind of stuff, right? Even marriage partners can be determined through duel. Of course, this is a morally incorrect thing to do. You should marry for love and not for political convenience. This has been intrinsically linked into every story that's ever been made since the dawn of time. So again, not exactly a hard one to refute. More important is the why. Why are people trying to marry you? That's where we get into the intrigue, I think. Miorine specifically says that Dad set it up to be this way. He set it up to the point where I would have various suitors from all these different people within the group. The group being Benerit group, which is now Delling's group, right? This is Delling here. I'm going to imagine he's going to deal with this company that recorded a loss for 3 periods in a row, the same way that he was dealing with companies 10 years ago, just killing them. When you're bankrupt, you're also killed. And again, Delling's still that same old asshole. The financial documents said that that company could have potentially improved. Don't care, all I am is results based. I don't care about the future at all. I'm very short-sighted in that regard. See how this is linking to this stuff from before? I can only ever see what's right in front of me. Again, this may be a character flaw for Delling. Delling also disregards his daughter very much. It's almost like she's a curse on him, per se. So he has an assistant. The assistant said, I put 2 agents to watch her. We see these agents in the next scene. They're kind of not doing anything, right? And then the dad's like, you know better than to waste my time. I don't want any reports on my daughter. I don't care about my daughter. Again, I'm reading ahead very much, right? But why did you have a daughter? Okay, let's think about it. You fell in love with somebody, right? If we're associating Miorine with Earth a lot now, right? Then it must have been a girl from Earth. And then because of reasons, you're probably jaded about that and can't look at your daughter anymore. Something to that effect. That's where I would imagine this story is going. Not that Delling will be sympathetic in that regard, but we can see why he is the man he is today. Soletta's sticking around like a bad smell. She's also... stomach's rumbling all over the place. I don't know about all that. It's more this fish out of water stuff. You don't even know what a tomato is. That's how much you've been out of the loop and out of the way for so very long. You haven't attended school, you haven't even eaten a tomato before, but you do know one thing and you do know fighting, right? So, like, just an interesting character. I would love to know what happened in the in-between of the prologue and now. Should I look up tomato metaphor? Because she bites into that tomato and she loves it like a lot. So I can't see anything specifically apt. I guess you could go off of color and say that it's a red color, which is generally passion, and a fiery passion at that. Again, with these 2 characters that are going to be husband and wife, or groom and bride, maybe there's a little bit there. Again, we'll see. Again, specifically linking the tomato in with the mother as well. She grew tomatoes on Earth. She has Earthian roots. And again, all this time, Miorine wanting to make herself, or get herself back to Earth and all this kind of stuff we're teasing her for, it's probably a connection to the mother. So I guess I know why it's called that in the title now, right? The witch stuff we've talked about very pronounced, this kind of witchcraft-esque Gundam that she has that's so very different from all the others. And then the from Mercury part is the kind of Mercury backstory. Either way, here's Trouble, here's here's Sionji. No, anyway, we're not going to keep referencing Utena. We may a little bit. But hey, here's the betrothed guy and he's being an asshole and that causes our main character to want to intervene. Makes sense, makes sense. Again, Guel wants her to move in so that she can't escape anymore. He also says here, your father's the one that made the rules. So it's almost like he's tossed his daughter out there as this kind of carrot on a stick for all these other people to fight for, which is kind of fucked up, right? Again, we need more backstory for why this is the way it is, right? Why is the bride the bride? Again, the betrothed guy is like immediately violent and nobody cares and this is just the status quo. We need the outsider character to come in here and say that this isn't alright and stand in the way and do all that kind of stuff. Soletta also looks out to the security. They're doing nothing. They don't care. They know that this is already the arrangement. Yeah, it's up to me to do something. I do like ass slap as an opener. I think that's pretty good gear. So again, you disagree with what he's saying. You slap him on the ass and try to get his attention. It's just very funny and awkward. I think it matches her character quite a bit. It's a good scene. It's also very embarrassing for this guy that's very chauvinistic. Like, he's very demanding of Miorine. He's got his, like, sword pointed at her, essentially. Yeah, not good. So, again, the slap on the ass to bring him back down to earth, pardon the pun, is probably a pretty good move. So this is the difference, right? She's very meek here. She's hiding behind other people. She's very soft-spoken and stuttery and stuff. I don't know, potentially I'd like in this moment for her to step into that role a little bit more. But again, the opposite is also true. She's starting at a low base to the point where she'll take on these protagonisty things by the end of the episode and by the end of the series. She has room for growth. We get a bit more context here as well. Guel is currently the top holder. He's the top ranked duelist. So again, is the holder because of that, the holder of the bride, right? So again, you don't know any of the context here, and you're surprised by the very end of what the concept of the holder is. Again, holder's some really cool language as well, right? It's like holding shares. It's got this real corporate ickiness to it, which I like. And of course, throwing down the gauntlet, I'll duel you because I think you're wrong in this circumstance. Now, what's interesting, right, is, okay, Utena presents this as an idea, and then Utena goes in and duels, and then later on, we address the elephant in the room, which is, hey, Utena, you're just doing the same thing that they're doing, but, you know, you're a girl. You know what I mean? You're still dominating over the Rose Bride and possessing her and not giving her agency and all these other things, right? I like that this show addresses this so very quickly, so very early. It's lulling you into the false sense of security that you think that Soletta is going to be the one in the mech later on, in the suit. No, it's Miorine already taking this kind of stuff into her own hands. She wants to be in control of her own destiny even now. And again, contrasting that with Utena is very interesting, I think. Just, yeah, the first thing I've seen in the show that I would call genuinely subversive. So again, straight into it, it's the talk of the school, a duel is starting up, everyone's like, oh, who's he fighting? Who's he fighting? It's like this sport for the school, right? Again, very much equivalent to the star quarterback or somebody like that, right? Guel's kind of role in the school. And yeah, let me just establish this for everybody as well. This guy, he's the Guel guy, he's Guel's dad. If he kills Delling right now, which he's going to do in 10 minutes, then it'll be whoever is the current holder will then be kind of married to Miorine. So there won't be any game anymore, and we will take control of the company again. Like, the game will stop, I guess. But as Delling continues to be alive, then the game will continue, right? And especially we can't kill him right now because the Guel's not in control. It wouldn't make any sense. Again, the irony being that Soletta inadvertently saved the murderer, in essence, of her father. You know? It's kind of something in that. Must talk about the very obvious piece of this mech's design, which is the big kind of flare on the knight's helmet, right? Again, we're associating this so very much with princesses and princes and holy knights and all this kind of stuff, you know, witches, medieval stuff. Yeah, so it just makes sense in kind of the mech design there. I really like it. So we have Sadiq here, and then we have Ellen as well, which is this character here, who seems to be like the nerdy, quieter one. But again, he has his associations to his parent company as well, right? So like, yeah, again, we'll see when these characters have their kind of pop-out episodes. So Dominicus, that seems to be like the military or something? Because Dominicus was the same kind of thing that launched the attack in the prologue, right? And had Kananji guy there, I think. So, again, you want to be the future ace of, like, the military. It makes sense. They said something bad there about the tricolors of Soletta's mech being almost akin to French. Yeah, red, white, and blue a little bit, sure. The national emblem of old France. Yeah, interesting. So again, I'm seeing that as a tie into old France, like old medieval France almost as well, right? Like, again, witch trials and so forth. And yeah, Soletta is stunned here. We thought that Soletta would be in the vehicle. Instead, Miorine is in there. Isn't that the princess that's in there? Oh my god. Yeah, Miorine Rembrandt is in there. Not who we thought. We're unsure how she got into Ariel. I think it had something to do with them, like, exchanging phone info earlier, I think. Like right here. Like she put her codes in maybe. Sure. So again, as I said, there is significance to Miorine taking a hold of her own destiny right now and, you know, being the one in control even at this point. Or at least attempting to before finding out that she's not strong enough to use the suit. Doesn't have that kind of tacit connection with it that Soletta will. Again, I think that's an important step very early in her own autonomy. But as we can see, she's not used to the machine. She's not used to all the weapons. She isn't fully in sync with it. Of course, it isn't going to work correctly. Again, it's so very coded as like Soletta's sister, right? So it's like, you know, so integrally linked to her that it can't be used by anybody else, basically. And again, we'll probably explore this later in the series, you would think, too. Just looking at this character design, too. You're so going to have an episode? That's crazy. You're so very designed. Yeah, enter Soletta on Nika's little scooter thing. Again, this is fun because we're like mixing up all the IDs and that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, somebody stole your bike, Nika. It's like, no, maybe I'll let her steal it, right? I guess I helped get these guys into this situation. That's where we do the headbutt thing again. Soletta headbutting Miorine this time. Hey, don't use this thing. This is my fucking vehicle and all that kind of stuff. Let me help you. All these kind of things. I really like the skies here. They're really quite pretty. And especially, again, the kind of cloudy day, the sun shining through on all the feathers. The end of the episode makes for a really evocative scene. I like us using our background and using our setting a little bit, even though it is fake. Yeah, from here, the episode plays out basically exactly like you think it's going to play out, now that Soletta has that connection with her family robot aerial thing once again. Then she's going to say her little spiel about taking one and gaining one and moving forward and gaining two and all this kind of stuff, right? Again, we explained it in the moment. It's pretty obvious stuff. Yeah, she's going to win. Basically, the little spiel there equating to you should try because you'll gain experience and pride in doing so. You shouldn't just run away from fights. Be brave and all that kind of stuff. Good morals. Yeah, and from here we like Pog out of control. The animation's really good. The fight's really flashy. Nice rotating shot there. Some really good effects work on all the different myriad parts rotating around. This seems to be like the conceit of the machine, that it has these little parts that it can control, essentially like tendril or tentacle powers, which is pretty good. And yeah, from here, the bestest dueler in the whole school fucking dies. Pretty cool. Where again, this like smart character over here, he looks at it and he's like, oh, that's a fucking Gundam, dude. That's crazy. Of course, the feathers of the kind of back of the robot's head there, the helmet, coming apart after the lightsaber cuts its head off. Again, these feathers helping to set the scene for this final kind of confrontation between Miorine and Soletta. Again, it seems like all these other characters that were on the bridge kind of commentating are now really interested that there's a genuine Gundam here as well. I wonder how that mixes things up, right? Because Soletta's now in a position of power, does that mean that she's untouchable in a way? Does that mean that they all notice the Gundam and do things about it after the fact, if that makes any sense? Like, if she was to lose, would they then kill her because of what she has and her ties to the stuff that came before? Again, we'll learn as we continue. And yeah, really love the triumphant soundtrack here and all that kind of stuff building into this moment. Miorine walking out onto the hand. Again, nice episode structure stuff as I talked about. Finally seeing that her tormentor, her fiancé, has been destroyed, and yeah, thanking Soletta for it. The sun breaking through the clouds. Maybe I'll be okay here. I won't have to run away back to Earth like before. Again, even the sun breaking through the clouds and that association with Earth and new life on this kind of desolate land, like new growth of plants and all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, lots of really, really, really fun stuff here. And again, the costume change. Oh my god, you figured it out now that we're going to be engaged and all that kind of shit. Oh my god, a woman can't be engaged to another woman. So I guess you guys are really conservative on Mercury. We do that over here. It seems like you swing both ways. Sure, go for it. You seem unsure at the concept of two beings being linked at all, considering how probably isolated your, childhood was. So yeah, that'll be fun for you, right? Where again, I've got a wife accidentally. Oh no. So hey mom, I accidentally went into the school you wanted me to attend and then accidentally became the wife of your husband's murderer. Accidentally. Yeah, fun premise so far. Really, really fun. Also very obviously just a huge Utena reference, as I continue to say. And I think I'll leave the opening. Again, I might skim it quickly just to see how true it is that this kind of links the prologue and the thingo, but I'll give it a genuine read next week, I guess. Yeah, weird. I could be confused about what's going on somewhat because it, again, we'll talk about it next week in more detail. I'm seeing like Soletta has to be Eri, right? That has to be what happens. Otherwise, it wouldn't make much sense. How it's doing. Anyway, I digress. I'm calling it like I see it, and that's half the fun. I shouldn't have to know everything. But that was enjoyable. I really want to get more into the school stuff and meet all those characters. I think that's where a lot of the joy will be for me with this show. Very lore heavy early. I had to get caught up, I guess. But now I know what the stakes are and what we're trying to do and a little bit more of the history. I think we're on the right track. So again, very heavy session to start, but should be lighter as we continue, you would imagine. But yeah, it was good. I liked it. Keen to see more. Which, again, Patreon will have the next episodes if you're watching this publicly. Discord, if you want to talk to me about anything, clarify anything. I'm very willing to be corrected on this kind of stuff. Again, remember, it is my first time with anything Gundam, so sure. Like the video, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Comment below. I'd love to hear some comments, of course. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.